Alright, in this video we're going to make some short animations. Let's get into it. So if we run this project, we have a simple walking animation, and if we press the 2 button on our keyboard, if we press 2, we get our second animation, which is of a guy laying on the ground, chucking a ball at the wall, which bounces back. Now notice when he throws it, the ball gets stretched out. Like, look. Stretched out, and when it hits something, it squashes. Now let's go. If you press 1, you can go back to it first. If you press 2, you go to the second. 3, 4, 5, and so on. Don't do anything. We only have 2 animations here. And yeah, let's get into making that. Alright, so you're gonna name your project Simple Animations. Oh no, short animations. What am I doing? Yeah. Delete the default cat. We're gonna do this every time. The cat's really not that useful. And you're gonna paint new sprite. So here's one thing to note about animation. It's you will not have the exact same thing as I have. You will not. You have to draw all these costumes by yourself. It's not going to be like the maze where you could import anything. You're going to have to draw all these costumes by yourself. So, just a disclaimer. Also, what animation really is a bunch of pictures, switching through them very quickly at a very quick frame rate to cause the illusion of movement. Now, in this new sprite, you're going to call this Animation 1. And now we get to the drawing part. So go to Vector Mode, and you're going to start by drawing a ground, a floor. So use whatever color you want, I don't care. Do whatever other add-ons you want, but I'm going to show you the bare minimums for this. First, we're going to draw a ground for the guy to walk on, because this is going to be our walk cycle. And then we're going to draw him walking. So let me go and show you a little bit of what walk cycles look like. So if I go to a new tab and look up walk cycle. Okay. And it says, in an animation, a walk cycle is a series of frames or illustrations drawn in sequence that loops to create an animation of a walking character. Now, let's look at some images. These are the typical normal frames of your walk cycle. So let's look at this one. We have one contact, the down, where both his legs are bent. His head is lower. The passing position, where it is the first position where his back leg is now. Any part of his back leg is now in front of the one's front leg. Up here, the front leg, the leg that was once the front leg, becomes the back leg and straightens out completely, and the back leg is now the front leg, completely the front leg, and is bent. And then we have our second contact, and then the thing repeats, except the legs are the legs are switched, kind of. Yeah. For our purpose, we're using a simple walk cycle of a stick figure. And stick figures, you can't really tell which one is on which side. So we're only going to need half of this, just the contact down, passing position up, and then repeat to the contact down, passing position up. So let's go to our editor. First, we're going to draw our first contact. So let's draw a stick figure. Now, this is going to take a lot longer than like scripting, because you have to draw every frame. This needs to be longer. So let me familiarize you with this editor we have here. This is our line tool. We're going to be using this a lot. It draws lines, but the thing is they're completely straight lines, and if you hold shift on your keyboard, it's a completely straight line. This is our undo button for mistakes. This is our cursor tool. We can select objects, move them around. Oh, by the way, make sure you're in vector mode. It's very important to be in vector mode. If you're not in vector mode, you have a completely different editor. It's very different. And this is one of the most important tools called reshape. Reshape, if I click, perhaps I click on this circle, all these nodes pop up. These nodes, if I drag one of them, I can reshape our object to make it look differently. Of course, I don't want his head to look like that. I want it to be a perfect circle, so I'm going to undo that. And this is our circle tool. We use that to make the head. So I'm going to reshape his body stick a little bit better so that it's longer. And I'll draw some legs separately. Like that. And I'll drag these legs onto the body. And there we have our contact position. Make some little adjustments. But the thing is, this is gonna take a lot longer than scripting. If you don't have a very steady hand, or you have a touchpad, this will be difficult. I recommend using a mouse. If you can use a drawing tablet, then use the drawing tablet. Now to make our next frame, we're gonna take this duplicate tool over here, or we can just right click and click duplicate. But if you use this duplicate tool, you click it and then you have a stamp button on your cursor, and you just click on the frame you want to duplicate. And here we have a second frame. And now if we go back to our walk cycle, it says the next is our down position, and we're just going to draw that. So this is bent like that, and this is bent. Yep, that's a good down position. Let's make some adjustments. And of course, since it is a down position, we need to move it down. What I'm doing right now is I selected the whole thing using the select tool, and I'm pressing the down arrow key to move it down by 1 pixel each time. So we want to align exactly with the ground, and then we can click off it and make our next frame. Let's duplicate this. Actually, let me show you the other way. Right click, duplicate, and then next is our passing position. So now we're just going to draw it so that it passes. So the front leg is right there, about there, and this next leg is like this. So it's about to pass. And then our next one is called up right here, and it's passed. The legs have passed. So this one's gonna go way up here, like that. And this one's gonna be completely straight, so let's delete this node and put it out like that. Fix this. And then we have our contact again. And since this is the up position, I'm going to make it move up some, and I'm going to edit the legs a bit. you can change this to your liking. You can make it a purple stick figure. You can add a background and all that. But I recommend doing that later. First, right now, you should probably try just do this bare stick figure. And now, if you want to test that out, we need to do some scripting. So go to scripts and give it an origin point. So go to 0, 0. And let's just, for the sake of time, let's just give this simple. Always be looping to the next costume and give it a very fast frame rate. So let's wait 0.01 seconds. And let's run this. We have a kind of choppy walking. Maybe if we give it like 0.02 seconds. That looks better. Now, no, I only did 4 frames for this whole thing. You could always add frames like in between frames, like in between here. Make it a lot smoother. But for the sake of time, we're not going to do that. So this is kind of the warm-up. It's a pretty choppy animation. It's not that good. Our next animation is going to be much smoother, and it's going to have, oh my gosh, way more frames than this last one. So let's make a new sprite. Call it Animation 2. Convert to vector, of course, and we're going to make our stick figure again. Oh no, let's first make the ground. Now this time the ground, is going to have a wall. So make it kind of here, but not quite touching the edge. Leave a little bit of space. Then move your cursor to where a node pops up right here. And draw another line, holding shift, mind you. And go all the way to the top, and now we have like a wall right here, as well as the floor. Now let's draw our stick figure. I'm going to call him Bob. I'm going to call him Frank. I don't know. But here's our stick figure. Give him a body. Like that. Some legs. Nope, wait. Let's draw the legs so that they're a separate object from the body. And, you know, we're going to kind of make him look nice and back and relaxed, so let's lower him like this. Put one leg straight out like that, and the other one, let's kind of make it sticking up, like he's bending his knee. Then we're going to make his arms. So, yeah, his arms, that sucked. That was terrible, but whatever. Put it right there, and for this arm, we're kind of going to have it as a supporter and lean against the floor. This one is going to be our main arm. It's going to be animated a bunch. It's going to be for throwing our ball. Let's make sure that's aligned there. Alright, and finally, let's put it right here, like it's about to throw. And let's give it an elbow joint right here for our nodes. And then we're gonna make a ball. We're gonna make a ball. You know, just take the black circle, just like that, and drag it to where the hand is. Let's put the hand way back, actually, so it has enough power to throw. So that looks good. That looks good. And also, let's make this... Oh, before this step, actually, I need to show you something. One of the 12 principles of animation, as described by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, is squash and stretch. So say I have a ball, it's a really huge ball. When it's thrown, when it's flying through the air, then as it flies faster, the faster it flies, the more it's got to stretch. And its volume has to be consistent, so it's going to get shorter and wider. When it hits something, like say it hits the wall, then it's going to squash. It's going to squash into the wall and stretch in this direction. Like it's being like a piece of like a rubber ball hitting something, it's going to squash itself. Now obviously, like if you have something like even if you have a rubber ball, it's never going to be this extreme in real life. But because this is our cartoon, we're free to exaggerate things as much as we think is okay. So, and really, if you exaggerate things, it just makes it feel more real. Because if you just have something going like boop, that looks like a bowling ball to me, because it didn't squash or stretch. If you have something like this and it just goes, and it just squeezes itself. In fact, let's make it bulge out in these parts. Then that really looks like it's, I don't know, a really big ball of slime even. So in that principle, it states that objects need to squash and stretch, and the more squash and stretch, or the less squash and stretch, says something about the says something about the mass and the weight of the object. So this ball, it's gonna be kind of like a bouncy ball. So we know. So if it's here, it's gonna kind of like stretch about that much while it's in flight. And when it squashes, something like that would be good. So, alright, let's, and one more principle of animation we need to learn. Say you have an arm like this. Say you have an arm, and it's going like this. Like that, okay? Say it's turning. And it has an elbow right here. It has an elbow right here. Elbows come first. Elbows have to come first. So if it's turning, elbow has to go first. And then after the elbow stops, the hand continues to move until it's aligned. So this elbow is going to be first. So in our next frame, it's going to start swinging its arm. So let's reshape this. Let's move it like that. Next frame. And now here's when it starts rolling off the fingertips. So let's put it like that. And now this ball will start flying out. The hand is swinging. It's gonna start coming down. And now we need to make this start stretching. So stretch it a little bit. Not that much because it just started flying and it's not that fast. It's gonna stretch more as it goes further out. Next frame. Let's make it fall further down, and our ball make it move quite a bit this time. Let's make it kind of face upwards, as if it's going up. Stretch it some more. Here, next frame, and we're gonna go right around here. Stretch it a lot. It'll have the most stretch right before it hits the wall. Oh, I forgot to move the hand these two frames. Oh, hold on, let me do that. Right, and this frame, we're going to move this to about here. It's going to start kind of going downwards. So let's nose it down and stretch it. And now this frame, it hits the wall, so let's squash it. Like this. Line it more with the wall. Let's move the arm. And now it's gonna bounce off. So let's give it some stretch once again, but not that much. And it's gonna be tilted downwards. Let's move it out here. And of course, move the arm. This one kind of like that. Stretch it some more. And now let's kind of let it straighten out and just come to rest right there. His arm is just chilling. Next frame, and this is gonna come down here. Out. Let's stretch. Yeah, I think this is a good contact point here. Just hits the ground right there. And then, actually wait, hold on, no, let's delete that frame. Here, as soon as it hits the ground, in fact, before it hits the ground, right here, right before it hits the ground, this arm is going to start lifting up again. So remember, the elbow comes first, so lift that up first. And it's going to start going up. And in this one, it should be somewhat higher than our last frame here. So put it somewhere like that, but not too much angle. And now we can get to our next frame. So And our hand will go here. Next frame. And we're gonna make it straighten out right here. Just kind of straighten it. And here I think would be a good contact point. So let's squish this. And now we're going to have the hand start going back. Now I'm going to check at our first frame and see here. Yeah, they're pretty similar. So this should be about our last frame. And we're going to put it right there. And make it squash less because it's starting to take back its shape. And that should, and then it'll loop back here. So let's look through here. Its arm goes down, it squashes, starts coming down, starts lifting its hand, and it jumps up. He catches it right here and starts leaning back for the throw again. For the throw, once again. Alright, now let's give it the same scripts as animation 1, so let's put it here. And just so we can see this, let's make animation 1 hide temporarily. Just click the hide button in the look section. Go back to the second animation and let's play it. That looks really good. So he throws the ball, catches it, and he throws the ball again, and he catches it. Right. Great, so that's our second animation. Now all I have to do is program the changing, so we can change the animation, and we'll be done. So let's go to data, make a variable, and call this animation. And in the beginning, let's go to backdrops for this, just to contain just to stay organized. And we're gonna make it set animation to the first one in the beginning. So let's set animation to 1. And then we're gonna have this detect the key press if key 2 pressed, then set the animation to 2. And we also want to be able to put it back, so if key 1 is pressed, set animation to 1. And now we're going to say, we're going to give this a new script. Forever if animation is equal to 1. Then we want this to show up so it's not hiding. And let's drag this into animation number 2 so it has a script 2. If animation, the variable is 2, then it's going to show. Also, we need to make it hide if it's not. It's the other way. So actually, let's replace this if with an if else. If else. So what this does is if it is true, then do this. If it's not true, if else, then do this. So we're going to make it hide. And let's do the same here. Now we should have a fully working animation. Let's real quick make that variable hide by unchecking that box. And let's start. So we have our walk cycle animation. Let's press 2. And we have our ball throwing animation. That's perfect. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video. We made some short animations today.